Some offensive strategies are incredibly important to get the most amount of raid medals in the raid weekend. So that's why in this video I'll show you the best attack strategies in the clan capital so you can get the max amount of raid medals just like me. With that, hello and welcome to yet another video. My name is GumGum, and if you enjoy our videos then make sure to subscribe to our channel. Over 90% are actually not subscribed of you. So if you want to help us out and maybe one day we'll get to the 20k subscribers, then make sure to hit that button down below and subscribe to our channel. But of course, we want to take a look at the offensive hits. So let's take a look at Barbarian Camp. This Barbarian Camp is actually a non-default that got, well, cleared in one single attack. Of course, if you see this base right now, you would of course think, well, that looks like absolute garbage. And you would be right, you would be completely right with that. However, it is still incredibly hard to get this in one hit. You have, like, for every single clan capital district, you have a default layout. I will quickly show you the default layout for the Barbarian Camp. And you can see there is a slight difference between these two. And for these default layouts, some good players have of course found ways how to clear them in one single attack. However, if a few buildings variate from the default layout, you of course can't hit with that exact strategy. So in this case, Rob had to improvise, and this attack is actually completely improvised. It has never been done before, and yet he still managed to clear it in one single attack, even though I would say the district still has a few upgrades. Well, it's still not bad. It has close to 10,000 clan capital gold, which means it's like, I would say, level 3, level 4, every single defense. Of course, some level 1, level 2 defenses here and there. But of course, you also have some close to max out defenses, making it incredibly hard to clear it in one single attack. But if you just use the Sparky right, you can get so much value out of it. And that's exactly what Rob is going to show right here. You can see he's just constantly tanking all of those defenses, all of those multi-cannons with some giants, with some battle rams, with some barbarians. And if he were to make one single mistake and any of those multi-cannons would just lock onto his Sparky, this attack is over instantly. It is just really over instantly. But doing these attacks, these pixel perfect attacks, or well, perfect timing attacks, really benefits so much in the clan capital. If you can do this, you can really shoot up in the leaderboard and really set yourself apart from any other, I would say, normal clan capital player who is just going to clear this in in 2 attacks. Of course, you can just spam miners on it and you will clear it in 2 attacks. However, if you clear these kind of districts that are very, very hard, but still possible to clear in a single attack, that will really set you up for some insane trophies, and of course also set you up for those clan capital rewards. Because as I already covered in a video a few months ago, the clan capital raid medals that you get from the offensive, from the offensive rewards, gets calculated by the amount of clan capital gold which you receive per attack. So of course, if you get 10,000 clan capital gold in one attack, would be of course way better than the same amount of clan capital gold over 2 attacks, which of course means that you get an average of around, you can do the maths yourself, nobody really cares to be honest, but 1 attack, way better. So you always want to aim for that single attack cleared, clearing a district in with single attack if you have the possibility to do so. Of course, in the end it got incredibly close, but the Sparky is still alive, and the Sparky just cleared absolutely everything. So incredibly strong. If you see any district that is just not in a good level, so it can be on a low level, so level, for example, level 1 or level 2 defenses with a bad layout, or for example a layout that's relatively close to any of these default layouts, you can be able to clear it in one single attack, which was the case right here, and that will really set you up for a great raid weekend. Let's take a look at yet another attack from Rob, this time on the Wizard Valley. And if we take a look at the attack, you can once again see that it's close to the default layout. It's not the exact default layout. I'll quickly pause and show you the default layout And now we take a look at this layout again. You can see that both of these Inferno towers are in the middle of the base, and they would normally of course be here on the left hand side. But of course the top side Inferno tower hasn't been built yet. But still, I would assume over 80, maybe close to 90% of Clash of Clans players wouldn't be able to clear this district in one attack. So let's take a look at how Rob is going to do it. Of course, we have a close, well, it's close to the default strategy on the default layout. We have a few of those skeleton barrels down the bottom side, which you would also do on a default layout, but a giant bomb just completely crushed them and cleared a lot of those skellies. But with the support of that single barbarian, he is now able to clear that side. And also, which he had to adapt is, of course, he now needed the frost spell, so the freeze spell for those Inferno towers. Normally, you would use a rage spell for both of those giant cannons, because with a rage spell, the Sparky would attack the Spear Thrower and then splash onto both of those giant cannons, instantly destroying them even if they're completely maxed out, which of course isn't the case without the rage spell right there. So these both giant cannons now do a lot of damage to our Sparky, but still not nearly enough to get it down, because we tanked our Sparky perfectly through the middle of the base. So in the back end, of course, if we take a look at the right hand side, we still have so many defenses that are standing right there. We still, of course, have a lot of Spear Throwers. We have one of those cannons, we have the multi-cannon, as well as, of course, the raid cannon there, I mean the raid card right there. But of course, we still have a few more troops to tank. Now we use one more barbarian to take out the wizard tower, and we use a battle ram to tank the Spear Thrower. With that, every single thing has been cleared, and of course, that barbarian survives, as well as those barbarians from the battle ram both survive. No, they don't. I wanted to say, okay, they survive, and we'll do some cleanup right here, because time is of course also a big factor. If you do these one hits, 3 minutes is really not much for an attack, especially if the Sparky has to move through the whole base over and over again. It will be incredibly hard for your Sparky to do everything in 3 minutes. So of course you still need some barbarians or some cleanup troops just to clear the rest of the base, like for example these huts that are just standing in the corner. And simultaneously, you also have to perfectly tank every single one of those defense. So these clan capital attacks, even though they might look easy in this video right now, they are so incredibly hard, because you just have to do multitasking over and over again. If you can't do that, I would just recommend you just build these districts yourself. Like, take a look at this video, make a screenshot of these bases that got attacked in one single attack and got cleared in one single attack, and just try to replicate these attacks. If you want to get better at the clan capital, just copy the bases that get attacked in this video and replicate the attacks yourself. Do the exact same thing, and you will see that you won't be able to get it first try. If you do, then congratulations, you're an amazing player. But if you don't, just try over and over again, and you will just see how incredibly hard these attacks from Robs are. And they don't have the possibility to try it again over and over in friendly challenges. They have to do the real shit. They have to do it first try in the Clan Capital Raid Weekend, and they are completely crushing it. So let's take a look at a few more attacks. Now let's take a look at his hit on Golem Quarry, and you can see on this base, again, that is very relatively close to the default layout, but it's not exactly the same. So you cannot do the default attack on this base. Let's take a quick difference. Here we have the default layout, and here we have the normal layout again. You see some slight differences, but let's just take a look at how you will attack this one, because of course, on Golem Quarry, you have different defenses to worry about. You have so many of those rocket launchers. You of course have the two of those blast bows that are just so incredibly hard to tank, because if you just deploy some battle rams, those barbarians will just get splashed. Just every single one of them will instantly get splashed and destroyed. So you just have to be so incredibly cautious on what these troops are doing, which defense is shooting at which troop, and so on. You of course try to take out that blast bow on your right hand side with a with an Inferno Dragon, which didn't work out, so he even had to adapt on the fly, couldn't stick to his plan. Of course, he would have loved to use the Barbarians for someone else, for something else. They are of course planned for something else. Now he doesn't have them to tank any defense on the back end, which his Barbarians were planned for, because he still had to use them for the Blast Bow. So, and this attack just comes to show that even if the attack doesn't go directly to plan, you still have some room of error. Well, it wasn't an error, and I would say it wasn't an error, just a little bit unlucky. So if things just don't go right how you plan it to, because of course always you have some factor of randomness when it comes to attacks in Clash of Clans. The attack isn't over yet. Just stick to the rest of your plan, adapt a little bit on the fly, and just always try to keep that Sparky alive. Just any good clan capital hit is basically just keep your Sparky alive. It's just, I would say it's, well, I wanted to say it's as simple as that, but it's absolutely not simple. Well, the rule is simple. The rule is just keep your Sparky alive, but keeping your Sparky alive, that's the hard part. But just take a look at this Giant. If you have like this setup on a base, this setup with, well, this placement from the Giant is so incredibly good. It will just walk around the base and constantly tank that Blast Bow. And once the Giant has been taken out, the Blast Bow is also going down shortly. Now, of course, he still has a few Barbarians to tank the back end. Also here from the right hand side, if you have this exact same setup, one Skeleton Barrel will do enough, well, will be close to enough to get the whole setup. This is a setup you will often see on these Golem Quarry bases, so the Blast Bow right here, or these defenses on the right hand side, because people are just too lazy to move them or just copy any good bases. So if you see any of this setup, you can copy so much from these attacks. Of course, some bases will be different, but you can still take the approaches from these hits and apply them to your own plan. And with that, you should be able to clear some bases in one single attack. But of course, these were now all closely default bases. Let's now take a look at a completely random base. Like I said in the beginning, you have two kinds of bases. You can, well, three kinds of bases. You can attack in one single attack. That would be default layouts. That would be close to default layouts, and it would be absolutely under-leveled bases. So for example, with level 1 or level 2 defenses with bad layouts. So let's take a look at that right now. And this Builder Workshop would be an example of a bad and under-leveled layout, which you can still get in one single attack. Of course, this base looks terrible, because it is, but it's still incredibly hard to get it in one single attack. Just copy the base yourself and try it out in friendly challenges in your own clan capital. I bet you won't be able to do it in the first try. If you do, then of course, you're great. And I hope that you'll be able to get it as well in the raid weekend. But it will just make you such an incredible good player if you just do these attacks from Toby, from Rob over and over again. And it will make you an insane clan capital player, and your clan will profit so much from it. Because those one-hit attacks, so clearing districts in one attack, is just so beneficial for getting the maximum amount of trophies or the maximum amount of raid medals. So if you want to get that and really help your clan out, just try these attacks, copy these bases, and just do them over and over again. It will make you such an incredible good player. Or just you can basically do any single base. But the most important thing is just try to keep your Sparky alive throughout the whole attack. That is such a tough task. In these attacks, it looks so incredibly easy, but it's just these players make it look easy. But there's so much which comes down to these attacks. So many small timings, so many perfect troops placement, so many small decisions. Do I use anything from a Sparky? Do I not? Because you could already see now in this case, he didn't use a single troop to tank for his Sparky, because he would know, okay, the cannon is going to shoot 3 shots at my Sparky, I will just tank them, and then every single one of these defenses will be cleared within no time. Now he made a little bit of a mistake, and the Spear Thrower, as well as the other Spear Thrower, as well as the Giant Cannon, are targeting his Sparky, which is of course a little bit of damage. So his Sparky is relatively low HP going into the backhand section of the base. But the good thing is he still had all of his, well, 5 of his barbarians as well as a few battle rams. And also it is incredibly important to know where these zap traps will be. You just saw that he used a battle ram or a barbarian just to tank the zap trap because he knew that the zap trap would going to be there, because it is a section of the base that is still completely default. If you take a look at the default layout of your base, you see the exact same traps, and you will see these setups, like for example with the giant cannon here at 12 o'clock and those defenses, that it is a default setup that has not been changed. So you know exactly where those traps will be. If you just put those traps in your head, you can benefit from it so incredibly much in the clan capital, because so many people don't change their bases or don't change certain aspects from their bases. And you can just easily tank those zap traps, because those zap traps, if they go into your Sparky, your attack is over instantly. But I hope this helped you out. I wish you guys a wonderful weekend or a wonderful rest of your day. With that, I would say see you guys soon until the next video. See ya and bye bye.